Hi, welcome back to Blue Mountain Bushcraft and Outdoors. Today we're going to be doing a Gauntlet review of the Deer Creek Forge American Trade Knife. Stand by. So today we're going to be looking at the American Trade Knife from Deer Creek Forge. This is 1095 high carbon steel, a little over 5 inches long, hardwood handles, to basic no frills outdoorsman's knife. This knife has already been reviewed by Feral Woodcraft and Survival on Purpose. And if you haven't already watched those reviews, I strongly recommend you go back and take a look at them. I will put the links to those reviews in the description box down below. Go ahead and check them out. Give you a lot of really valuable information, stuff that I'm not particularly going to cover today. I wanted to be able to show you guys something that if you've already watched the other 2 reviews, or if you're going to go back and watch the other 2 reviews that you haven't seen yet. So I thought today, obviously we're going to do some wood processing, we're going to make a fire, and we're going to process some food. We're going to cook today. We're going to cook using this thing and see how this does slicing food in addition to all the other, woodsy kind of stuff. And then I'll go over and, kind of review my thoughts and evaluations on this blade. Let's put it down on the stump. We'll take a couple of quick measurements, the basic specifications, and we'll get on to processing some food. All right, so the ATK has an overall length of at about 10.5 inches, a blade length of about 5.5, actual cutting surface length of about 5.25, and about 4 3/4 inch handle. The thickness is 1/8. It's full tang. Has a nice strong point and a grind that the manufacturer calls a Scandivex. I'm not sure how well you're able to see the grind. It's just a very slight convex edge. It seems to be pretty durable. The steel is 1095 high carbon, and the heat treat is somewhere in the range of 57 to 60 Rockwell. The scales in this particular model are hickory slabs. They are held in place by 2 solid brass pins that run all the way through, and a brass tube lanyard hole. And I would imagine some sort of an epoxy underneath here. I do not believe that these scales are stabilized wood. I just believe they're plain, probably treated with oil hickory. What we're going to do today is we're going to make some lunch. So we're going to use the ATK to cut up some tomatoes, cut up some bacon, and then we're going to go gather some wood and process that wood down to get our fire going. We're going to make ourselves some BLTs. Okay, so the one item that we do need to cook today for our BLTs is the bacon. We got a pound of that. We're going to cook that up in our pot, but it's warm I don't really want a great big fire today, and yesterday it stormed pretty good, so everything is soaking wet out here. So we're going to have to search around and probably split some wood down to get wood that's going to be dry enough to burn well. And instead of doing a traditional firing in the ground, doing a fire like that, we are going to be using a wood gas stove. A lot of the wood out here is really wet. We're just going to have to do the best we can and try and get into some dry stuff. That doesn't feel too bad. Alright, we've got our tomatoes sliced, the bread's all ready to go, bacon's cut up and ready, and I think we've got our firewood situation pretty well scored away. We used the ATK to baton down these small pieces of hardwood, also used it to make this bundle of feathers, and some kindling here to get things going. So let's get this stove loaded up and get the fire going. We'll get the bacon cooking, and I'll come back and give you my final thoughts on this knife. See how she does strike in a ferro rod.
Yummy bacon.
Okay guys, so my final thoughts on this knife. I like the blade length. The 1/8 inch thickness is excellent. It allows for some really good edge geometry. This convex edge that they call the Scandivex does a terrific job at slicing, carving. It does very well with batoning, even heavier stuff than we did today. I didn't do a whole lot of heavy things, but the blade profile itself is very good. I really like it, and it seems to be very durable. The heat treats seems to be spot on. I have no complaints with it. My issues with this knife come in back here in the handle. If you can see in here and back here on the spine, the scales are not flush with the tang of the knife, and I think what's happened is that over time in use during this Gauntlet review, that either the scales themselves have shifted a little bit or they have shrunk, which I've actually had happen, because I don't think these are stabilized. So you've got some ridges that are starting to build up in here and back in here at the juncture of the spine, the tang and the scales. These edges in here are a little sharp. I find that if I'm really choked up hard on this, doing some cuts like this, that edge tends to dig into my thumb. At the same time, if I'm choked up hard on it again, this portion of the metal right in this juncture here is also quite sharp, and that causes some hot spots on my index finger. I'd like to see the scales a little bit more hand filling. I'd like to see a little bit more contour, a little bit more of an oval shape to them, because again, when I'm doing hard cuts with this transition here tends to start a little bit of a hot spot along the ridge of my palm. So some of these things are personal, like the blade shape. These ridges are not a personal thing, these are an issue. So I think that can be fixed with either stabilized wood or micarta, which, you know, may or may not be an option, I'm not sure. I believe this knife sells for about $100. For $100 you're getting a very good knife. I think with some modifications to this handle, you could be getting an excellent knife. So as is, it's pretty nice. I like it. I really love the way it looks. I think it's a handsome looking blade, but the issues back here on the handle prevent me from really loving this blade. Okay guys, if you liked the video, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. Hit like, share, and subscribe. Show this to your friends. The next person on the Gauntlet review list to get this knife is going to be Ben at Living Survival. So make sure you subscribe to him and check in with him, see when this next review goes up, see what he has to say about it. And don't forget to follow this thing on its path. You know, at the end of its journey through the Gauntlet, one of you guys gets to win this knife. So keep an eye on it. All right guys, take care. See you later. Like this video, what should they do? Give it a what? Okay, you're supposed to say give it a thumbs up. Would you stop? Okay. Goofball.